Hello, we're back on the Full Fat Podcast. Before we kick off, I'd like to sincerely apologise for having a very controversial guest on last time, Mr. Harry Funnyman. We weren't aware of the serious allegations that he is a Sigma male, but we do take it very seriously. And why are you laughing? We do take it very seriously, and we won't have him on again, we promise. Speaking of Sigmas, Joseph Kosinski, Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, Javier Bardem, Pusher, Kerry Condon.
Yep.
Is it Condon? Condone? I don't condone mispronouncing.
Yeah.
F1, or should I say F1 the movie? That's the big film out
F1
this
the
week.
movie, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's officially F1 the movie. I can't remember the last time there was a something the movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it truly is a movie.
It's
a
the
movie. It's the movie.
Yeah, like...
And it is a movie with a capital M, isn't it?
Yeah, there's something going on there. Yeah, F stop.
Yeah. Brad Pitt stop.
Well, what I like about it is, like, I don't know anything about F1.
Yeah.
But Damson Idris' character says you're going to be an F2, F3 if you carry on driving like this, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, like, is there F2 and F3? Is there divisions? Is it like Premier League?
I don't know.
Champions League? Blue
Nothing
Square North?
about F1 at
Right,
all.
okay. Because I was thinking halfway through, like, when they're like losing the races, what if it ends with Brad Pitt like being a complete bum by the end, and then F2, like it sounds like a sequel, but he's actually
gone
division.
worse. That'd be great.
Then F3.
That'd be great.
That'd be great. Like they progressively get more comedic.
Yeah.
Like his life just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
F3 starts. Kerry Condone's sent him like divorce papers. Like
Yeah.
He's like
They always start miserable. They can never just be happy, can they?
they've got to be great. They've got to have like
have
some angst.
That's true.
But yeah, it's kind of the it's Joseph Kosinski, half the heels of Top Gun Maverick, and he also did that Netflix film that no one saw in between, Spiderhead with Miles Teller.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either. So this is basically his follow-up to Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
And I think it's very much in the same vein, isn't it? But for cars.
Yeah.
And also weirdly, it is kind of following that Tony Scott trajectory of Top Gun. Days of Thunder was them trying to recreate the Top Gun craze, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With cars,
And also
kind of
Bruckheimer.
weird.
Doing the Jerry Bruckheimer doing the producing.
But it's that same thing again, isn't it? Where it's like, how can we recreate the Top Gun energy?
Yeah.
We'll move it onto cars.
And it's weird as well because, I mean, just jumping ahead a little bit, it's weird because Top Gun is the better movie of Days of Thunder and this one, and the same with Days of Thunder, Maverick and this one.
I watched Days of Thunder for this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I forgot to mention to you. So, I agree. Top Gun is the superior of those two.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think Maverick is the superior of these two.
Yes.
I did like the film. I have some not really complaints. I just think I think Top Gun Maverick takes what is a very simple, focused plot, and the spectacle really pushes and enhances that film.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like here it's kind of I think some of the beats are a bit too retraced from Maverick, trying to recreate the same success, I think, and that's kind of where it falters a little bit for me. Like, I think the key thing is like, the old bull and the young buck, they don't get along, and they've got to learn to get along if they're going to save the day.
Yeah.
That is completely lifted from Maverick, and they tried to do it again here. But I think the thing with Maverick, what made it so special, is the relationship between Tom Cruise and Miles Teller was so well done.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think Brad Pitt and Damson Idris have that same chemistry. And I don't think they quite come together at the end in a way that feels really satisfying. Like that final scene, full spoilers by the way, where, he's sort of like, oh, right back at you after they won the race. I was like, I don't feel this the same way I felt that with Teller and Cruise at the end of Maverick. And I do think that's kind of what it all hinges on. Also, do like Kerry Condon and Brad Pitt's like romance, but it's also not as, will they, won't they, as Jennifer Connelly and Tom Cruise. And those key relationships, I think, really what push Mav.
No, I agree with that. I think I agree with everything you said. I do still feel like that there's chemistry there, though. If saying that, I still feel like I enjoyed seeing them competing against each other more than I thought. It's not as good as a relationship as Miles Teller's and Tom Cruise's, but I still kind of enjoyed that dynamic. I mean, it's weird because this one, I mean, it's a trope, right? Like we've seen 1,000 times with both movies.
Yeah.
And even the relationship, right?
Yeah.
I just think that Maverick just finds a way to make it tight and just sort of fresh, weirdly, even though it's kind of the same thing we've seen before. I don't know. And I don't know if it comes down to just the nature of the sports as well. Whereas like, they're being attacked by military and they're in jets, as opposed to, cars that can crash and obviously they can die. But obviously, does that also help in
Not getting rockets fired at you.
Yeah, exactly. You're just driving the rockets, I guess.
I do think the dramatic stakes for Top Gun Maverick are so tightly wound. They've got this one mission that they're training for. They're training for this one objective that's building across the movie. They've got like fire these missiles in through this canyon. They can't go over a certain peak. I mean, I haven't seen the film in like 2 years maybe at this point, and you can still remember all like the minutiae of the...
It's so lean though. The movie just like...
Yeah.
Like you're like,
it's just
we're
like 2
here.
hours, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're here. Yeah. Whereas this was like 2 hours 35.
Yeah.
And I think it's too long.
I do think it's too long. However, I must admit, I mean, I didn't know it was that long until I spoke to you before seeing the film, and you were like, it's 2 hours 30, and I was like, fucking hell, it's 2 hours 30. And then when I went to see the movie, I was like, by the end of it, I was like, oh, I must admit, for a 2 hour 30 movie, it did breeze by a lot more than I thought it was gonna.
Really? Because I felt it.
Really, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I do think there's scenes that can be cut, but I don't... Do you know when you go see some 2 hour 30 movies and you're like, oh, this feels like a 2 hour 30 movie, if that makes sense.
But I think the part of the secret is, not only obviously like Top Gun Maverick is much leaner, like in terms of the actual running time, but also I do think it's because it's that one mission they have to hit.
Yeah.
They have to win this one mission. They're training everything you're being told as a viewer, all the exposition is for this one mission, and they go and do it. The equivalent of this is like if Top Gun was like, right, we're going to go do this mission, and then we've got this mission, and then we've got this other mission, and we've lost all these missions, but we just have to win, we just have to get one of the missions to save the day. And it's like, I think that's where the intersection between like F1 as a sport being like what it is, which is something, you watch every Sunday or whatever, you watch like how many races or whatever, and the races go on for like 60 laps or whatever, versus like cinematic tension, where they don't quite gel. Like, I was wondering if maybe it would have been better if it had just been like one day on the F1 track. Like, Brad Pitt and Damson Idris just have to learn to get along on this one day, and they have to win this one race. Maybe, do you know what I mean? It was just like a bit more like in real time, because I just felt like by the time we were at like the third or fourth race or whatever, I was like, I'm enjoying the races. They're really well done. Well, I think we should get into like technical stuff in a sec, but just the sheer amount of like, oh, now they've lost this one. Now he's crashed.
Should be
now
3.
he's crashed. Yeah.
It should be 3, and it should be like, by the time he gets that first one, it's like, if they don't fucking pull their shit together, do you know what I mean, this is fucked.
Yeah.
I think, I do agree. I think that's where the movie doesn't need. It's like there are one too many races for me.
Like Maverick, the dramatic hook of like, none of us can shoot the missiles in and get out in time.
Yeah.
Mav, he's been pulled off the team.
Yeah.
He flies in without clearance, and they're all like, they're watching on the monitor, and they're is it what's her name? Maria Bardo? She's like, nice.
Yeah.
And then the guy from, I'm forgetting everyone's names, but like the guy from Reckoning, and he's in this as well.
Yeah.
When he's like, oh, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. That's great.
They're just such like cinematic moments, but it's all because it's like, it's built around it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know, in fairness, how realistic or wildly unrealistic all that training stuff is to like a real fighter pilot mission.
No.
But from looking at reviews of people that are into F1, apparently this is all like wildly unrealistic. Like, for a start off, Sonny Hayes will be ridiculously too old to be a race car driver.
Yeah. But then that doesn't bother me, because it's like Tom Cruise is probably too old to be flying a jet.
No, that is true. That is true. But I do think you don't think about it as much, because it's like fighter pilots, and it's a bit more off. But I do think, like, maybe I could forgive the Brad Pitt age thing a little bit, because he's a movie star.
Yeah.
But I was reading up like things like when he... Don't call me now, Mum. I'm trying to film a podcast. When he like warms up his tyres on purpose to go to the back. So like I was reading that, like, if you did something like that, permanently disqualified. Banned.
Yeah.
Like, you can. So I just think, who's the target audience for this? Right? It's people that don't watch F1. Granted, people that just like tension and exciting movies. Sure, but it also is F1 the movie. People that are F1 fans are gonna go and see this who don't necessarily like movies. They just want to like go watch the F1 movie. And like, I just feel like, is it not going to pull you out of it every 5 minutes if you're like, well, that would be an instant ban, that would be disqualification, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of...
No, I do get you, and I do get that, and I actually looked up a couple of F1 fans that said this as well.
Right.
And I actually saw another guy who was saying, But I do understand, on the other hand, that it's a Hollywood movie and it's quite hard to make a 60-lap race have some sort of tension. So he's like, I don't mind too much that they have to do things that are like not in the rules of like F1. They have to, because obviously like, he breaks a lot of rules.
Let's build a car for combat.
Yeah. And it's weird because Brad Pitt's too old, but I also think on paper, right?
Yeah.
If this was played by someone else, let's just say Jared Leto, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we would like the protagonist of Brad Pitt at all, because it's kind of a weird thing that like he's cheating and we're being told that like we have to root for him.
Yeah.
But I think it's the charm of Brad Pitt that allows us to get away with it. And also,
do you think the charm of Jared Leto would work?
Yeah, no, that's not getting
one of the most charming actors ever. Like, obviously, we love all his films.
Yeah, we do.
He's never like insanely punchable.
But yeah, no. So, but then also my counter argument to myself is, but they don't have the right car. So he has to break the rules because their car isn't nowhere near as matched as their car. I mean, for me, my whole review of this whole movie for me is just that it's the dad movie of the summer. It's a movie that Maverick is a better version of. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think in every respect.
Yeah, but it's this year's dad movie, and for it being that, I really enjoy it. It's such an 80s, 90s, early 90s movie. It hurts, and it's kind of fun to see in 2025.
I do agree in that sense, but also if it was in the 90s, it would be under 2 hours. It would have ended as soon as they won the race. Yeah. Like, how many Hollywood movies do we watch?
I do agree. It should have ended there.
It should have, where there's the logical end point, and then
he should have crossed, smile, cut to black.
Yeah, like we said, like. He needs a scene with Kerry again, and then he needs a scene where he turns up to this like dirt racing. He's like, does anyone need a racer? It's like, why? Why do we need that? And then as the credits are rolling, we're seeing him driving around.
Yeah.
Just cut it. Yeah. Freeze frame.
It's a shame as well because they cut the sound out for the last lap. And I loved that because I felt like she says a moment where she goes, oh, he's flying. And I was like, oh, that actually got to me. I was like, this is awesome. Like, and the way the sound dropped and it was just the whizzing of the car. I was like, oh, this is the perfect point to end, like, in finish. Like, you don't even necessarily need to hear the cheers. You just need to see you smile. In a way that, like, kind of Whiplash ends. You know what I mean? Where it's like, cool. And I feel like that's the move. Like, that's the end. Yeah. I do get that maybe you need a scene of, like, Kelly, like, getting the trophy and being appreciated for her designs of the cars, for her arc. But it's like, I don't know. But I just think that would have been a nicer end to end it there, but yeah,
it's weird because Joseph Kosinski juggles quite a lot of characters like Hangman and Bob and whatever in Maverick, but here I felt like there was a bit too much juggling of different characters, and maybe it's because like the bloated runtime, but I just felt like there was a couple like what's her name, Simone Ashley from Bridgerton. She was the love interest for Damson Idris. She got cut out. That was in like the news cycle, but I think there's more characters she could have cut out. Like, really? I just think there's a lot of stuff that's like a bit contrived. Like, there's a mole in F1. Cut to like a Suits-esque scene where like they're going through the papers. How did you get this document? Well, we got the document and it proves your car was like, it's not fit for design. Javier Bardem. God damn it. What are we going to do? It's just like, this is like, Brad Pitt. If everyone here is of extreme equal narrative importance, which we all are, and everyone finds a second on this team, and we've all won together. Yeah. It's like, Brad, you're the one driving the car, mate. Come on.
I did like that though. I must admit.
I find that made me cringe a little bit.
I quite like that because I do feel like I do think I think what it establishes for me about F1 is that it isn't about the individual necessarily in the car. It's about the whole team, the people that create the car, people that change the wheels, that change the things. But if they didn't have good people, that
is the pit stop thing with like that woman that we were following.
Not liking it, yeah.
Where like she fucked up.
Yeah.
And then the next time it happened, it was like, from her perspective, like, I did it quick enough. Like, I'm just like, I get what we're going for.
Yeah.
But I almost also think her whole character, I didn't need that scene, where like Brad Pitt's in the ice bath and they have a little exchange of dialogue.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Her whole character and arc, I think, is much leaner if it's literally, right? We never hear the character speak. She fucks up the first time.
Yep.
the second time she goes to the pit stop, we get that perspective of her like, I've got to get it right this time. And I feel like that would be a beautiful way to show her art without a single line of dialogue.
I agree with that. 100%.
Do you need the scene of her saying,
no,
"Oh, I'm really, I'm nervous,"
No,
or
I
whatever?
agree.
Like,
yeah, just having that beat, the silence of that. I think you're right. That
telling
made
a
it
whole
much better.
story through images.
Yeah, definitely.
Not trying to cut out lines because she's a woman.
No.
Because it's cinema.
Yeah.
And like, as Denis Villeneuve would say, director of the next Bond movie, he hates dialogue. It should all be through images.
Yep.
Like, wouldn't that be a better, not that I know more than Joseph Kosinski.
No, but more impactful, more impactful, I think, as well.
But also, I think like, that's her story, right?
Yeah.
Do you need any of that other stuff?
No.
That's what I'm basically here to watch is, she's worried that she's going to fuck up doing her job.
Yep.
Can she do it under pressure? Turns out, when the time is right, yes, she
100%.
can.
I agree with
that.
Definitely. Definitely. 100%.
Yeah, I just think maybe there's just one too many plates spinning.
Yeah.
I think objectively there must be, because I just think it's too long. I don't think it needs to be 2.5 hours.
No. I don't think it needs to be 2.5 hours, although I must admit, I was enjoying it, and it didn't feel like a 2.5 hour movie to me, even though I do think there's scenes that could be cut, like you just mentioned. I think it could be benefit by being 2 hours. Yeah. Definitely.
There was just a point where, I don't know what point it was specifically, but the start, I was like, Joseph Kosinski has a real knack for getting me into things that I would normally not give a fuck about, like fighter jets, race cars. Yeah. I think he's got such a mastery of direction in terms of like, you're never confused where anyone is in these massive, huge practical set pieces. You're always given the necessary exposition, whether it's Top Gun or whether it's this, like, the whether it's like ADR of like people on the pit crew, or like the people commentating, or like just the infographics coming up, cut to the real footage of them moving between cars. Like, that's all masterful.
Definitely.
And the races are really thrilling.
The races are like are worth the price of admission.
I agree.
That's why we're going to see this movie. I think this is the best thing about the movie. I think it's what stops it from being. I mean, even though its plot is kind of generic, we've seen it before a million times, but I think that's what separates it from, I would argue, something where, like, I think this is kind of my issue a little bit with Days of Thunder, a little bit, is that I think there's some okay races, but I don't think Tony actually gets it. It's a weird movie, Days of Thunder, but with this, for me, is like, this is how you shoot it at F1. I do also understand that he does have a lot of benefits in that it's the first time F1 have ever let someone actually film at their events. So they were actually allowed to film in between actual races that were happening. And I think that, to me, made the movie feel like a gazillion dollars. Like, some of the shots I was looking at, I was like, oh, that's all there.
Yeah.
And it really it really felt big, and it was great. I mean, I saw it at a packed screen in a massive screen, and everyone, it was honestly packed, and it felt good. It felt right to be like, this is a big movie blockbuster of the year. Like, and every penny is on screen. And I feel like we've come away a few times on the podcast, and we've been like, all these movies that are costing like 250 million. I'm like, where's the money? Yeah. And then, like, you look at this, and I'm like, I mean, I see all the money.
Expensive.
Yeah, it feels expensive. And the races were really cool. I mean, I read online that Kosinski, they started shooting like 6 days in with the actors, and then the SAG strikes happened, and he obviously the actors had to leave. So he was like, what can I do in the meantime? So he basically gets as all the drivers, and he films as much driving footage as possible. And I think that benefits the movie a lot. He even said, he was like, I don't think the movie would be as good as it was if I didn't have that beat. He was like, it also allowed me to look at the footage that I already had and be like, what can I improve already that I've already shot? And then obviously he can get as many possible angles as he wanted. He said he had 38 days to get driving. So he was like, it actually weirdly benefited him.
Yeah. Guess that Tony Scott overshooting thing as well.
Yeah. Well, he said he had multiple cameras as well. And funny enough, we're talking about Tony Scott. So originally, this was going to be a Days of Thunder sequel. So
is that why? Because he said recently, like, he's got an idea for like a sequel that's a crossover.
Yeah.
Like, how is this going to be a Days of Thunder sequel? So it was going to be Tom Cruise's character, like, as an old man going for F1.
I think so. I don't know about if it was connected to F1 or what, but originally he was planning to do a sequel. I don't know how far in the script was or whatever. Right. But they also, funny enough, they were going to do. he was gonna do a racing movie called, I think, Go to Hell, and it was gonna star Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, and it was eventually they couldn't get the budget for it, and eventually it became Ford vs Ferrari that came out in 2019.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah.
So he left Kaczynski and then...
Yeah, and then it got changed and turned it into Ford vs Ferrari, I guess. Which is interesting. Yeah, and I think it makes sense now that we're getting all this like talk of Days of Thunder and F1, Brad Pitt crossing over. I mean, there is a part in this movie where I was like, because like you said, the ending goes on for too long, where I'm like, is he going to walk into... Because literally, the way like he goes into the beach, it was set up almost as if like...
feel like, what are we here for? And
like Thanos is going to turn up, you know what I mean? Like, and it would have been Tom Cruise in this instance, you know what I mean? It was a weird... It was a weird end. Actually. It was a weird end. And I was sitting there like, is this something the boys not told me? Like, is this... Like, actually, with the point, I was like, is Tom Cruise going to turn up?
That would have been fun.
But yeah, and obviously because I was hearing all the rumours about that. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. That they... and I think you can really tell with the races that he had that time, because I think... The races are electric.
The races are awesome. Yeah, the races are awesome. I think there's just something about this, like... Maverick's very clean, family-friendly blockbuster. Yeah. But I feel like there is a heart to it that sort of elevates it in the characters, whereas I feel like this does feel like F1 had a big committee meeting and watched a cut, and then we're like, right, can we tweak this, can we tweak that? I don't know, just there's something about this one I just felt like was a bit lacking in soul.
Lewis Hamilton was a big producer on it. Apparently, he basically helped them through a majority of the movie to make it as realistic as possible for F1 in terms of the way the cars and the stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting.
I think it's funny because like something like Days of Thunder, I've watched that 10 times over this, and I think it does again come down to the characters. And I like that Days of Thunder more focuses on like the friendship with Rooker and Cruz, and like. You know, doing these stunts and these races are incredibly dangerous, and you're going to kill yourself. Yeah. Like, and it's more about that almost than it is about the races, and about him trying to convince him to go to the hospital. And he's kind of like toxic masculinity thing of like, you know, no one in my family goes to the hospital. I'm just going to ride it out. And it's like, bro, I'm going to take you to the hospital. like all that stuff's cool.
But I do think the relationship in this one is stronger than it is in Days of Thunder with Natalie, with Nicole Kidman and Days of Thunder.
You think the Days of Thunder relationship's stronger or this one?
This one's stronger.
Oh, interesting. Really?
Yeah.
That steamy Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise relationship.
Yeah, that accent was really distracting.
Oh, who cares?
Me as well.
Who cares? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, Days of Thunder's a weird one. It was a weird one because I could see why it kind of stopped the Jerry Bruckheimer train.
Yeah,
when I watch it, like, is a bit messy.
It's very messy.
Whereas I think this is a little bit straightforward, more straightforward.
I think it's sexier, and I think it's got more. It's got more of a. No, but like Jimmy, it's got more of a beating heart.
Whereas I think it helps
got more like electricity.
Tony's. I think it's Tony's style that does that. I think
it's Maverick and this are in some ways a bit sexless, even though they actually do have romances in them. There's still something. There's just something so like shiny.
It's the smoke and the like. This is like a.
It's a modern movie.
It's a modern movie. You're right. Yeah. Whereas like
no one's sweaty.
No, everything looks like I'm watching an actual F1 race. As opposed to like when Tony Scott directs something, it's like you're watching a movie, and it's like everything's turned up to 11, and like the lights, the smoke everywhere, and you know what I mean, like it's an aesthetic, you know what I mean? And it depends what you prefer.
I prefer the sexiness and the brash, smoky intensity of Days of Thunder. Is it funny to describe something as sexy? Days of Thunder is sexy. I wouldn't say this film is like particularly sexy.
Yeah, no.
Like I don't know. There's a few sexy bits, but I just don't.
Yeah,
and I just think there's too many characters. I think there's just a bit of soul lacking from it that I kind of need. That I found in Maverick. Maverick has a beating heart.
Yeah, I think it's almost like wild to compare. Almost, even though it is a direct comparison, I'm like watching.
I do think it's very much, as the kids say, reheated nachos.
Yeah. Reheated nachos.
Yeah, they say that like when they reheated their nachos.
Okay.
Like
for sure.
Yeah. Like Force Awakens reheated the New Hope's nachos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like it is kind of a little bit. I don't know. It's just impossible for me not to compare them. I just think,
especially because he made it as well.
Because he made it, and because from like a commercial standpoint, F1 would definitely like hire that Maverick guy.
Yeah.
Do the same. Do the same. It's the same case. Do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
As Ice Cube would say, it is that I can't separate them.
Of course.
And particularly like maybe if it had been starring Austin Butler and Damson Idris, two young go-getters in a feud, but the fact that it's literally Maverick in a car versus Rooster in a car.
I do also find, maybe I'm biased, but I do also think for me that the charm of Brad Pitt gets me through a lot of this movie. Like there is something magical about that man, where it's like when he's on screen, he's kind of like, I saw actually an interesting description from Commode, who said, Mark Commode said that the difference with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt is Tom Cruise is trying so hard, like everything he has to entertain you. And he was like, Brad Pitt is doing the opposite. He's just cruising in, and he gives you a little smile, and you're like, it's Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
You can do what you want. And I'm like, that's how I felt the whole time watching the movie. I'm like, he's so charming that I could just watch him be Brad Pitt in this movie for ages. I do think that star power, he really is a movie star, in the sense that, like, I think that pushed this movie almost a little bit more for me, because I enjoyed the races, I enjoyed Brad Pitt, I enjoyed the Joseph relationship as well. It's not the levels of Top Gun, but I do think as well that me having seen reviews of people being like, it's nowhere near and all this, and I kind of was and expected to, I think this, lightning only strikes, strikes twice, but but I think it was lightning in the bottle, that Maverick, and I enjoyed this, but it's a movie of a capital M, in that it's such a Hollywood Jerry Bruckheimer movie.
I don't think there's any big swings.
No, it's a Jerry Bruckheimer 80s, 90s movie.
Whereas 28 years, I prefer that to this, as in terms of the summer makeup so far, because I just think that was more swings. There was more risks taken. Yeah,
I mean, they're so different in.
No, but just in terms of like, what do I want from a summer blockbuster? I want some risks.
Yeah.
I want to push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
I want a heart.
I'd say
to
Sinners is more what I was looking for in terms of that. It's not a summer blockbuster, but it's a blockbuster now, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so.
But yeah, I see what you mean.
I get what you're saying. Sinners was better than 28 Years, definitely.
Yeah.
I did like Sinners a lot.
Yeah.
Again, some big swings.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed this more than I thought. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought. I didn't think I would, but I just enjoyed. I was on the edge of my seat in that last race, and I didn't think I would be. Particularly because of, like you said, there was a lot of races. So I thought by the end, I'm not going to even care.
It's just things as well, like when it fades and cuts from like lap 10 to lap 60 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really know enough about F1. I'm like, do they really do this many laps? Inherently uncinematic.
Yeah, they do.
If cinema was writing the laws of F1, they'd be like one lap.
Yeah.
Best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there'd be like some sort of missile's got to be launched into the bunker.
Maybe 10.
You know what I mean? Like, it would be, and it would all be in real time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's just like I get it's difficult to try and translate it, but
yeah.
But that's ultimately why it's a sport, right?
100%.
It's not a narrative.
Yeah.
Like, well, you find the narratives in the real sportsmanship.
Yeah.
When you're watching it at home on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It
doesn't for me reach the height of Ford vs Ferrari for me, which I know is not F1. It's like the Le Mans or whatever, but
that's again more like about the racing. It's more about the characters. Whereas I think this and Days of Thunder are more about the characters, really, even though it's about the cars. Whereas this, I do think the cars, the technical aspects, the technical wizardry.
The story is there so that we can see the.
It's
cars.
An excuse.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And definitely. I mean, it's interesting that they had to ADR the cars in this because they couldn't put in the actual like motors, I think, of the newer ones because they go. I think I might be wrong because they go too fast or too loud. I don't know, but they had to basically add the sound.
Interesting.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
But and the bit in the Vegas Strip. So Brad Pitt didn't get practice for that because they only had like 2 hours. He only got to practice on the simulators. Mm-hmm. So he had to do that in one take, he hadn't drove it before. And that's actually him driving a majority of it.
How much of the film is he driving?
Quite a lot.
There's obviously like must be professionals doing some of it, and then
and Brad Pitt said as well, he's like, I'm not Tom Cruise. He's like, if a stuntman's gonna do it, I'm gonna give it a stuntman. That's like, I suppose Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
He's just.
You're right. It is very different energy.
The
commode way of summing it up.
It's spot on, isn't it? It's so spot on. I just wanted to get a couple of little facts I found.
Little factoids. Go for it.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting. So it was, so it was, I think it's 3,500 storyboards, I believe. It took 8 weeks to mix the sound. Apparently it was a nightmare because of all that stuff. Obviously all that to be ADR'd. And the other thing I want to talk about was, did you know what gave Joseph Kosinski like one of his big breaks in Hollywood? Do you know about this? I didn't know about this at all. So he was doing a lot of like commercial stuff, like when he first moved to LA. And then I think he shot something that basically got in the hands of David Fincher. And David Fincher like recommended him for some like commercials.
Yeah.
And he did a few, and the big one that he got was, do you know the Mad World Gears of War?
Oh yeah.
That's Joseph Kosinski directed that.
The CGI trailer, or is it a real live action trailer?
Whatever that trailer is, I remember. I don't remember what it was, but
Yeah.
I remember it was a Mad World song. I remember that being a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he directed that, and he said after that his career kind of took off a bit.
Kind of mad.
Whatever, Mad World. But yeah.
And then what is that? 2006. Tron Legacy was like 2010.
Yeah.
So yeah, that does kind of try. I don't know if he did what he did before that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then he did Oblivion, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then did he do anything in between Maverick? Have a little look, Ski, just to close out the pod. Have a look at the career of Joseph Kosinski.
There we go. But I thought that was so much. What interesting in? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a video game trailer.
It's interesting he's never done that since, really.
Yeah.
So Only the Brave. That's that Miles Teller.
Oh, the fireman thing.
Yeah, which I've heard is alright.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. So it's only Brave and then Top Gun Maverick and then Spiderhead.
Oh, wow, so John Legacy's his first feature. So he's pretty much just done, like, really big blockbusters.
Yeah.
Oblivion, I do like Oblivion.
I haven't seen it.
Could be...
I've only seen the triangle chug that Brad Pitt does. Tom Cruise. Sorry.
I would like to watch it again. I haven't seen Only the Brave. I've heard it's okay. And then, I haven't seen Spiderhead. That's like his only, like,
seen that as well.
More subdued film, isn't it? It's like a thriller.
Yeah.
Interesting career so far.
Very interesting. He's got a very clean look to his movies, doesn't he? Like you were saying earlier. He's got a very like it fits perfectly that Apple produced this.
Yes, I feel like
an
all
Apple
of his films
aesthetic.
could be Apple produced.
Yeah.
Oblivion
like even
could be an
Oblivion,
Apple movie.
Yeah.
It looks like it takes place inside of a Macintosh.
It does.
Tom Cruise looks like a Macintosh that wished to be human in that movie. But anyway, yeah, that was F1.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's serviceable summer filmmaking.
Yes.
That sounds like I'm doing dirty the technical filmmaking. Like the races are top notch. Joseph Kosinski is a master of that.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, I just wanted a little bit more from the story.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, it's fun. Take your dads. Don't know what that's like. But yeah, this has been the Full Fat Podcast. Just a little quickie this week. Next week, Jurassic World Dominion, and then the week after that,
no, not Jurassic World Dominion. It's Rebirth, isn't it?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
The $1 billion
was the last one.
Yeah, the last $1 billion.
They're
the
all
no
$1 billion
one saw.
ones.
Yeah, it's so
all
true.
$1 billion ones.
That's so true.
Yeah, you're right. Jurassic World Rebirth. Isn't it funny that there's more Jurassic Worlds now than Jurassic Parks?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Like I kind of thought they were going to go back to Park.
Yeah, I thought for this one as well.
Because like the world was like it's to signal like we're going, Also, wouldn't that make more sense like Jurassic Park Rebirth?
Yeah.
But
weird.
What do I know? So yeah, Jurassic World Rebirth next week. Then Superman the following week.
Damn.
And then I don't know what's in between that, but then there's definitely Fantastic Four, and then after that, like Peacemaker and Alien is starting. So we are
just
don't stop. So it's like we're in a little F1 car, isn't it?
Yeah.
FFV. FF5? I don't know. Where's Harry when you need him? A huge thank you to Dr. Chike and Peter Vaughan for being my full fat patrons. Your contribution to keeping the channel running is immeasurable. If you'd like to join the Patreon for exclusive goodies, early releases of main videos, the podcast, video scripts, and a thank you in the credits, then please head on over to patreon.com/fullfatvideos to choose one of the paid tiers.